Fans of television star and celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain are reeling today at the news of his sudden and unexpected death. The 61-year-old reportedly committed suicide while in France working on his award-winning show. I'm joined now live by Dr. Simon Sherry, a clinical psychologist and professor at Dalhousie University. So Anthony Bourdain, and as well as designer Kate Spade, they were very well known. They seemed to have everything, fame and money. People are kind of struggling to comprehend how this would happen to people who seem to have everything. What do you say to them?
I think fundamentally these celebrities are humans. And as humans, like the rest of us, under certain conditions, they're susceptible to suicide.
Well, what do you say about your concerns of what happens next? A lot of attention has been put on these two circumstances, and for people who are struggling themselves, what are you thinking?
This is a concerning period when it comes to suicide behaviors. We know that in the wake of celebrity suicides, there can be a small increase in suicide behaviors. And at a time like this, it's especially important to be responsible in the media about how suicide is discussed. You don't want to glamorize or romanticize these behaviors in any way. And it's a time to accentuate the negative. These suicides are profoundly negative events that impact not only these celebrities, but also many people around them.
Well, what kind of signs should people be looking out for someone who might be thinking about taking their own life?
We need to draw a distinction between risk factors and warning signs. There are certain known risk factors for suicide that might include something like depression. And then there are warning signs. And a warning sign is something that happens more immediate to suicide behavior, just temporarily prior to a suicide attempt. And those warning signs would include somebody talking about or writing about death or suicide, someone actively seeking the means with which to kill themselves, and oftentimes someone will be threatening suicide. From more of a psychological standpoint, you may also find someone who feels hopeless or trapped in a particularly dark situation. So there are warning signs or red flags that people should absolutely be attentive to.
Well, if you start seeing some of those red flags, what kind of steps would you advise people to take?
Seek the help of a professional almost immediately. Require, in some cases, your loved one to get in touch with a family doctor, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist. There is absolutely help and hope for people who are suicidal, and oftentimes that means treating the mental illness that almost invariably accompanies suicide.
Sometimes I imagine it would be difficult to get someone to seek the help that they desperately need. How do you go about that?
With firmness, with support, with patience, and sometimes in extreme cases through coercive means. Sometimes in a temporary way, people's rights need to be suspended in order to keep them safe.
And of course, if you're looking to get help yourself, there's a lot of hotlines, a lot of information online as well.
Yes, there are various means through which people can seek help. I think there are lines available within our province, but it's also important to tell somebody, typically a well-trained professional like a family doctor, a psychologist, or psychiatrist, and let them help you, because assuredly there are treatments that work for suicide and corresponding mental health difficulties.
All right, well, Dr. Sherry, thanks so much for your time, and we hope that people who need help do reach out and get it.
Thank you for having me.